The market of plastic recycling is only going to open up one time in our lifetime, so this is the moment.
I visited the factories with you a month ago in Bangkok, and I could see, okay, this is a real big, solid company that is here for the long term.
The vision of the company is solve the pollution of the planet and help the people in need.
What are the risks? Hi, and welcome to this new episode of The Light Leaders. Today I'm with Thomas, and we'll explore what if you could, from the comfort of your home, help clean up the planet from the plastic pollution and make an income while doing it. So this episode is going to be for you conscious entrepreneurs, people who want to make the world better, clean up our planet, and at the same time are interested to do a business and to build something. This is for you, because living in Bali, it's very obvious that we have a big problem with plastic pollution, and it's unfortunately in many places around the world. But as an entrepreneur, when we see a problem, we also see a solution, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's a great solution to the plastic problem that we have today in the world. A main challenge that's just going to get bigger and bigger. So before I start asking you questions, Thomas, I'd love to give a little backstory. You've been working with that company, Corsair, for about 3 years now, and you even told me about that project 2 years ago. About a month ago, when Bangkok visiting the plastic recycling facilities, and that's why I decided to be also personally more involved. I know you've been doing really well with that business for you personally, but also helping to recycle a massive amount of plastic on the planet. How much plastic have you ordered to be recycled?
Thank you for asking. After more than 3 years in this business, not me alone, but by ripple effect of my team, so all of my community, we collectively remove more than 80 million kilograms of plastic trash from nature that will never end up in the rivers and in the ocean. We're really proud about that, but it's just the beginning.
Amazing. So tell us, what does Corsair do as a business?
So let me first start with the vision of the company. The vision of the company is solve the pollution of the planet and help the people in need. And Corsair has started with plastic pollution, being one of the most obvious crises that we need to deal with as a collective, as humanity on this planet. But they won't stop there. In the future, they'll also go into water pollution and air pollution. For now, it's been more than 5 years that they're proposing the solution to solve the plastic waste problem by using advanced recycling, making recycled oil from plastic trash. And today oil is gold, so we're making gold from the trash. We are literally turning waste into wealth. And we're offering to redistribute the wealth to everybody who helps, local communities, waste pickers, workers in the factories, and an online network of change makers helping the company in the process.
Yeah, amazing, Thomas. And we're part of that network. So actually, why did they choose this unique business model of marketing through a network?
That's a great question. We get this a lot. So to put the different pieces of the puzzle in place, there is Corsair with industrial capabilities, with actual factories recycling plastic waste, the collection systems that are required to get access to all this plastic trash. And then there is a digital asset called the plastic credit, which is similar to the carbon credit. And around that, there's a network of change makers, of online entrepreneurs that are helping to market the good work Corsair is doing to the rest of the world and offering business opportunities. So we might be asking, well, why does this industrial company need a network of promoters to talk about what they do, to bring customers, to bring finances into the company? It's very simple, but you need to dig a little bit more to really understand why. First of all, this company is not the only one doing plastic credits. We have competitors. The fact that Corsair has a network of more than 20,000 people online promoting, writing posts, creating content about this plastic credit allows this plastic credit to gets differentiated from the rest of the competition. So the first reason why the network is relevant here is for the promotional power of this plastic credit, so that Corsair can carve its own space on the global market and become one of the leaders in terms of gold standard for plastic credit. Number two, it brings extra finances into the company. And actually Corsair has self-financed for the first 5 years of their operations by their own means. By us, by the network, we got to build factories and make a change and recycle a lot of plastic waste. And the consequence of that is that the Corsair founders own the company 100%. They haven't sold one share to hidden investors and investment banks and venture capitalists. So it was extremely relevant for them to do so. And the third reason why a network is extremely relevant for this business is that it's opening doors. Network is people who know people who know people. This company has grown as fast as it has thanks to the reach of the network. Finding new locations for facilities, contacts in governments, contacts to buy the feedstock, contacts for clients all over the world. So for these three reasons, it is extremely relevant for Corsair to use a network of entrepreneurs to share the word and to grow the project. And we're really blessed to be part of it.
Yeah, and we're even making a podcast about it, so it works.
Absolutely.
Also, Thomas, so there are other companies that use this type of business models. What makes this opportunity so unique and special?
Well, what's really unique about this opportunity is that it works and it has never been done before. So we're writing history. We're writing history in different industry. The network marketing model, the industrial plastic recycling, and the blockchain real world asset. In those three sectors, we're writing history together. That is, in my opinion, why there is an absolute unique and special opportunity. In one sentence, what we're really offering to anybody listening to us that feels called to just get to know more is that everyone can partake in this mission. You can partake in a passive manner as a customer to help to clean up the planet. You will have a big impact like I have with my community. And on top of that, you will build assets that will grow in value for your future abundance. Second, if you would join us and work with you and me and all of these amazing actors of change community, then you would start earning an income as a side job, as a side hustle every week, being part of this business model. You can earn money cleaning the planet with a great community online. That is the one-liner that I really want to let the world know. What we do is unique, has never been done before. It works really well. And we are all together creating the vision of a cleaner world, of a cleaner planet.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'll put a link in the description if people are curious and want to explore this opportunity with us. So check it out in the description. So,
Alex, you have been gathering around yourself a lot of conscious entrepreneurs. And I remember a few years ago here in Bali, I joined one of your conscious entrepreneur masterminds and I really loved it. And now you're here working with us. So I would like to ask you, what makes this a great opportunity for a so-called conscious entrepreneur?
I think it's tackling an issue that is so obvious to everyone is only going to get worse, which is the plastic pollution. It's something most of us are sensitive to, especially in places like Bali or Southeast Asia. And for me, that aspect of doing good is important, but also the community that we do it with is also very important. A lot of the projects I do can be sometimes with my coaching or my podcasting. I love them and I love the impact it has, but I can end up feeling a little bit lonely and because I work on them alone. And when I can do it with a community of heart-centered people, it's just more fun. And it also works better because we all have our superpowers. It's almost feeling like part of this team of superheroes of people who are, one is more skilled in marketing, one in design, one in sales. And we all come together to work together on that important topic. Because it's one thing I feel that often conscious entrepreneurs sometimes, or leaders of the newest, we don't work together as much as we could, and we don't use as much as we could each other's genius. And that's something that old paradigm corporations do sometimes much better than us. So I'm super happy to see a project that's so aligned in terms of values and at the same time fun to do together, but where we can come together and use the efficiencies of being in our geniuses working together.
What I'd like to add on top of that is that we are stronger together. When we unite, the more people uniting in harmony, the bigger impact we can have for our lives, for the community, and for the world. And that's what you were touching upon. When we are alone, we can do so much. We can only do so much. But when we are together and we are uniting as humanity, then everything is possible. Because we forget what is our true power of creation. But together we remember it. So for example, in this project, we are at the moment becoming a magnet for heart-centered leaders, for change makers, for the one who see the vision, who want to be part of the solution. And that is gathering an incredible panel and mosaic of people. So I've been here doing this for 3 years and 3 months, and I see who comes and go. I see who stays. And the caliber of the people that have joined us lately, including yourself, is making my passion more and more grandiose for this project. Because it's really about people. Business is about people. You can have a great idea, a great company, a great product. If you have the wrong people, it's not going to work. So people should be at the center of any business. And thanks to this business model, it is mostly about people. Your own success as an entrepreneur with us, as a networker with us, is your capacity to connect with people, build trust, build quality relationship, and unite under a similar culture of working together. So you touch upon the most important piece of our business, I believe, is that it's people powered, by people, for people, and for the planet.
Yeah, 100%, man. And even coming from a startup world, venture capitalists, often they will say that too when they invest in a startup, is they look at the business model, they of course do their due diligence, but the most important are the founders and who they are, how they work together.
You were sharing in the introduction that it has been 2 years. You are observing what we do. You're looking from afar, but now you decided to actually join and become actively involved. So first, thank you so much. And I need to ask you, can you share your testimony of why now? Why did you decide to actually get started with us now and not before?
Yeah, well, before when you joined and you told me about it about 2 years ago, I think I was definitely curious and I explored it a little bit. But first I was busy with other things, and also I was curious to see how it would evolve, because in where I live in Bali, there's a lot of people coming with a lot of different opportunities. And sometimes I like to just give it a little bit of time to see, is it just a hype and a fad, or is it going to be a long-term sustainable project? And I gave it some time. I was doing other things. And recently she also moved in right next to my house, and we've been friends for many years now. So I also took it as a sign to revisit. And then I knew now that first you, after 3 years, you were doing really well with the business. I also know quite a few other people from our community here in Bali that are friends that have been involved and that are doing well on the entrepreneurial side of things. So I saw, okay, this is a real opportunity. I visited the factories with you a month ago in Bangkok, and I could see, okay, this is a real big, solid company that is here for the long term. And there was like, wow, I already loved the project before and the mission it had, but now knowing that the company was solid and that the people who were seriously joining the network were getting really well rewarded for it as an entrepreneur, I thought, okay, this is all super aligned. And that's when I decided, let's dive in, let's do it. And I do it as a part-time, like I think most people in this network. But it's been really beautiful. And again, I love also being part of that community. Some of the work I was doing was feeling sometimes a little bit lonely, and even going like last Monday to the community gathering and hearing people share their meditation, their motivational speech, and being in that energy felt really good.
Thank you so much. And thank you for coming to Bangkok. Despite that I moved next to you and that helped you to get convinced, you accepted my invitation to fly to another country and to go not only see the factory and touch it yourself, but also touch and feel who is there in this global community from all over the world. So I would like to ask you, what happened to you after spending a few days with the company, the founders in Bangkok? What did it bring to you?
To me, it brought mainly two things. One would be the certainty that this is a solid project. It just, even if I knew it was real, of course, you told me about the factories, I saw the photos, but when you're there on site and you see it, it just hits differently. Now it's more embodied within me that this is a solid project, this is how it works, and it's here to stay. That's one thing. That maybe satisfied more my mind about it. The other thing is just the energy of being around the founders, being around you, people in the network that are doing really well. It just shows that it's possible. And you touched upon it, which is in this business, confidence is really important. So if I come with a positive energy, with confidence, I'm going to do well. It's the law of attraction in a business in some ways. And so coming back from that certainty around the solidity of the business and the energy of success, of enthusiasm, of community embodied in my system, that made a big difference.
Absolutely. And in that event, there were people from everywhere, from South America traveling to Bangkok, the Italian team with their culture, Americans, all the people from Bali. Everyone came from such a different background because you and I were part of a similar community here in Bali. But here we could spend time with people from all sorts of backgrounds. People who are 20 years old and are passionate about doing something great, so tech savvy. 75-year-old people that have no clue about technology, but they're here because they understand the reality of industry. People from doctors, healers, sports people, business people, hippie people. It's incredible. Like the diversity of profiles that were there, united with one common vision. And that's really what, for me, hit home. It's wow. This vision is so big that we all feel it and we all unite behind it. And the vision is, let's do something to clean this planet for the future generations so that we learn as humanity to take our responsibility for the trash that we produce. And let's do it together. And let's make money at the same time so that it's not just a charity project. It's not just doing good for the environment. It's more than that. And that's what I'm so passionate about. The innovative business model that allows us to unite, to earn, to do good for the environment, all at the same time. That's why I'm here.
And I love that you touch upon it too, because it's beautiful to do things for charity, to do things like going to a beach and doing a cleanup of plastic. And I encourage people to do that. At the same time, in the world we live in, if we want to change things at a bigger scale, we also need to think in terms of industry, business, and money, right? So, of course, as much as it's nice to give our time, if that recycling of plastic comes with an income that I can do as an entrepreneur, it's going to be much easier for me to put more time into it. That's just the reality of things. And especially when you look also at the people who may collect the plastic, which in a lot of places like in Thailand or in Bali, where you're in charge of building a factory there too, is going to be mainly people from poorer areas. Well, for these people, of course, you can't just tell them, hey, we need to depollute and clean the plastic when they're struggling maybe to feed their family. And of course, that's their priority. So I know Corsair are doing that with fishermen in Thailand, where they have a an agreement with fishermen where a fisherman in Thailand would fish and plastic, unfortunately, because there's a lot of fish in the ocean, but now a bigger proportion of plastic too. And what do they do with the plastic? If it has no value, they throw it back in the ocean, and you can't blame them because their focus is to make money to feed their family. But now what they've done is they pay for that plastic. So the fishermen now will bring the plastic back to get paid for it. And of course, it's important to do education, but sometimes having a monetary system, a financial incentive like this, is just going to work so much better and be more practical.
Let me touch upon that for a second. It's very important, especially in our community. It is more the spiritual, conscious community. There might be a resistance to talk about money in business. It's almost like there's a split. It's like, no way. Money is bad, and then we need to do business that is in service and about healing, about doing good, about charity. That's not correct. We need to do both at the same time. And the reason why making it profitable is so important is because people won't do it if it's not for money. And when I say people, it's not one person, it's generally, collectively. People won't put the time and effort required to build factories, to do the research and development, to go and collect the plastic waste. The incentive needs to be interesting enough so that entrepreneurs all around the world go and focus on it. Yeah. So it needs to be profitable. There are many charity projects or non-profit projects to do plastic cleanup. They are fantastic. Thank you for everyone doing it. But they are limited to scale because they are not a profitable model. You can only go so far with donations and with volunteer work. What this company is aiming at doing is creating such a profitable system that redistributes the wealth to everyone that can scale up to having dozens and then hundreds and one day thousands of factories cleaning this plastic garbage from the planet all around the world. It has to be monetarily, business-wise. It has to make sense from a financial standpoint. Else we cannot access the scale at which we want to reach. And we have a lot of trash to take care of. So we need a capacity to scale. And we need to scale actually faster than the world is producing new plastics. We have work to do.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas. And when it comes to initiatives like this, there's a word that gets thrown around, greenwashing. So I'm curious, what do you say to people who say Corsair would do greenwashing?
Great question. Thank you so much. Greenwashing is a concern today, and rightfully so. Let's first understand what is greenwashing. Greenwashing is when a company claims they are doing so much good for the environment, and in reality, they do much less. That's greenwashing. It's an oversized claim. It's an overinflated claim. This is a reality in the environmental space. It has happened a lot in the carbon industry over the past 10-15 years. In this business model, Corsair has already implemented anti-greenwashing mechanisms so that we learn from the past and we don't repeat the mistakes. The use of the blockchain, which is here a responsible use of the blockchain, is one of these mechanisms to ensure complete security, traceability, and transparency of who is cleaning what. Because the blockchain cannot be discussed or faked or negotiated with. So that's one element that is, for me, very interesting because the blockchain is today known for cryptocurrency, but actually it can do many, many more things. And it's meant to bring a revolution in all sorts of industry because of the nature of what it does. Absolute transparency, traceability, and transparency. Absolute security, transparency, and traceability. So that's one of the mechanisms. And then you have audits, third parties coming to check that what Corsair does is real. For example, this ISCC Plus certification, which includes the quality of the recycling, the oil, the pollution levels that are very low, but also the traceability of the plastic waste that is being recycled. When a third party comes to check and gives the certificate, then it brings more credibility. And finally, the mechanisms for companies here, which is a certificate. When a company joins to clean up, they have their own certificate, which is verifiable by anybody on the blockchain. This is anti-greenwashing. actually, because the certificate says company A has cleaned up 1 million kilograms from the environment, and that is verified and recorded publicly. So here's the anti-greenwashing part. Company can claim they did this for the environment, and then they can prove they did exactly this. Not 1 kilo more, not 1 kilo less. So by definition of greenwashing, what we do is anti-greenwashing.
Yeah, and for me, I love also that you have these receipts on the blockchain, the things that you can verify and that they create a token. And I won't get too much into it, but it creates much more transparency for sure. Also, people might be wondering, what are the risks?
What are the risks? Thank you for asking. It's an amazing question. So you have different risks depending on what you want to do with us, right? So if you want to be a passive customer, so you will pay Corsair to clean up the environment and you will get your own plastic credits, the risk is quite simple. First, you risk to actually clean up a lot of plastic for the environment because that will be done. So that's not a risk, of course. That's what you paid for. What people will see as a risk is those plastic credits that I'm getting in return of cleaning the planet. What value are they going to have in the future? Because if their value goes down and down and down, then that's the risk. We won't get the returns that were expected. So that's the main risk, is everyone needs to make their own decision. Let's look at the factors that are telling us this is going to be very valuable in the future. And we have videos for that explaining the evolution of these growth factors on the market, on the regulation, on the company side. And based on that, with your own risk profile, you decide how much you want to go. But we really want to tell all our customers that we are here for the mid-term, for the long term. This is not a make money quick, let's buy, let's sell, let's buy, let's sell every month. It's not. The market is still emerging, is still new. The company has been around for 5 years, not 25. So things are still getting into place. Everything is working. The solution is working. The credits are working. The company is delivering. The community is growing. However, it is still early on the market. The carbon credit market took about 15 years to really establish itself globally inside the regulations and big corporations. It will probably take the same amount of time. I believe it will take much less, but let's say it will take, 5 to 10 years for the plastic credit system and the mandatory recycling of plastic to really spread out in the entire planet and be connected to all of the regulations. So when you partake into this business, you want to understand, you get the vision where we're going, and you look mid-term to long-term. In business and building wealth, you always want to look mid-term or long-term. So that's for passive customer. Now for an active partner like you and me, an entrepreneur that will spend its time talking to their communities about it, talking to customers, talking to other active partners, then you risk your time because you are going to put time, and that's normal. You need time in order to be successful, build your business and earn an income. You have a risk of facing your own limitations because you are going to need to work on yourself. That's kind of the surprise. It's like, oh yeah, I want to join and help clean up the planet. And then you realize, wow, to be successful, I have to really work on myself. So you have a real risk of realizing where you are sabotaging yourself, where you think you're not worthy, not capable, and that it actually takes hard work to be successful. That's the main one. You will get paid every week, so the risk is very low here, because when you get paid, well, you have the money, so there is no risk on that side. So I would say these are the risks for a passive customer and for an active partner. The wider understanding is, do I believe this market is going to go in the direction that we believe it's going to go to? Do we believe that the world needs to find solutions for plastic waste? Do we believe that the world will use its precedent of using the carbon credit system and duplicate it for plastic credit? Because it has worked successfully. There's no reason why they wouldn't use it again. And we see markers like the World Bank putting 100 million on the topic, the United Nations pushing every country to do something. We see reasons why we believe. We don't have a blind faith. We have a educated faith in the project and confidence in its own future. So that's, you need to discover for yourself. How much do you resonate with that? What's your own level of risk that you're willing to do?
Yes, and it makes a lot of sense. I think as much as we've seen companies needing to become carbon neutral in the years to come, they will want to, or if not, governments and powers will ask them to be plastic neutral too, because of course those companies can't keep just polluting and putting plastic into the environment. That's important. It's like there is a cost when those companies pollute and produce. They might make a certain level of profit, but they also pollute a certain amount. And these companies need to compensate the planet really for that. So that's the mechanism of the plastic credits.
That's what I call common sense. It's not the little people that are going to pay to clean up the planet. It's not the governments. They never have money for that. It's the companies. So it's just a matter of time before we make companies that pollute pay to clean up. For me, it's common sense.
Fair, yeah.
The last thing I would like to add is the level of risk regarding Corsair, regarding the company. You would ask me years ago, 2020, 2021, when a project just started and they were facing their first major challenges, I would have said the risk was extremely high. However, they have pushed through crisis after crisis, limitation after limitation. They managed to make recycled oil from the trash that people told them is not possible. Then they managed to make it profitable, which people told them is not possible. Then they managed to carve their space on the global oil market alongside giants like Shell, what people told them it was not possible. Now we are in year number 6 for Corsair. I would say the risk is quite low at the moment because the company has been growing, learning, delivering, proving over and over again that they know what they are doing and they know in which direction they are going. And their intuition was right. Regulations are actually entering into effect, like they intuited before even creating the company. So I would say today the risk is very low compared to the beginning of the project when they were barely starting to make a low quality oil, when now they are growing on different continents at the same time with success, with recognition from the United Nations, with recognition from different giant multi-billion-dollar companies. Today, I believe the risk that Corsair fails is extremely low.
And talking about that alignment also with regulations, I think the Philippines have started to have such regulations.
Absolutely. I can do, if you want, just a quick recap of the different type of regulations which are absolutely working in our favor. So the first type of regulation that really works in our favor is the regulations in the European Union, which have now entered into effect in 2025. They've been discussed since 2021, and they make it so that for certain plastic products, to be able to be sold in the European Union, the maker of the plastic product will have to prove that it contains recycled plastic inside of the manufacturing process. Basically, that part of this plastic is coming from waste. That is the reason why Shell is buying our oil. That is the reason why many other oil companies are now fighting and negotiating with Corsair to get oil themselves. So the demand is enormous. We're very grateful for these regulations because, in my opinion, this is the reason why we are here. This project would not have worked 15 years ago because our clients would not buy this very expensive recycled oil. So regulations are on our side. How rare is that? We want more regulation. It will make our job easier. Second type of regulation that is in our favor is that, for example, in the European Union as well, countries are paying a fine if they don't meet a certain percentage of recycling their own trash. And actually, a couple years ago, the countries of the European Union paid more than 7 billion euros in fine to the European Union because they were not recycling enough of their plastic waste. And let me tell you that those 7 billion euros, they didn't go to clean up the planet or develop recycling infrastructure. Now, that is very good because those countries in the European Union, they really want Corsair to come and put a factory in their country because it will save them fines. And they're so hefty that now we are seeing governments willing to finance the factories themselves. That's how good it is. Governments also now start to pay for companies like Corsair just to take the trash. Because in Europe, there is a problem of capacity. Certain countries are able to recycle all their trash. Certain countries are just ending up with warehouses full of plastic waste that somebody needs to recycle. That's where Corsair comes in. The third type of regulation that works in our favor is the one you just mentioned about the Philippines, and it's about forcing companies to clean up their own pollution. that works under the EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility framework, that is being rolled out globally at a different speed in different countries. And for example, in the Philippines, it has led the government to force companies of a certain size to compensate their plastic footprint and actually clean up plastics in the Philippines. And they can use plastic credits for that. So yes, we have the first country who made it mandatory by law that companies need to clean up after themselves. And many other countries are looking, are studying, and will roll out similar programs in the future. Alex, you're really about building the new Earth, building the new system in which humans are going to relate to each other in a different way, which in the spiritual and more conscious circle, we are learning to describe as the evolution of human consciousness. And I'm very much aligned with that. I believe it's time for us to unite and make a change. What is your personal vision for the new Earth, and how does this project align with your desire to create this future?
To me, it's a topic that's really dear to my heart. And there's really 4 reasons where I would say this is so aligned. If we want to build a new Earth, first, we want to work on something that does good, very in a tangible way. Cleaning up the plastic is that. We want to do something that brings financial abundance. We live in a world where money will allow us to build the things we want to build. We want to keep growing. We want to keep evolving. And you mentioned the personal development that comes from growing this business. And the last thing is community building, because the new Earth is going to be the new Earth with beautiful, heart-centered community. And when we do this business, we already grow a very aligned community.
100%. Thank you for sharing that. I want to make appear on the screen the vision board of the last group that we have trained, just so that everybody can witness what are the deeper visions and dreams of people in this community. And you can see on this image a lot of these new Earth community living together in nature, in harmony, in an Eden-like paradise that we know is the way our ancestors were living, but now in a renewed manner with the technology and the advancement that today the world can bring to us. Most of the people in this community, they believe this is the right way to live and that we have lost ourselves. And this project, this opportunity to work together brings exactly that. That's what I really want to see. This vision board manifest as soon as possible for all the members of our community, so that later down the line, we can all visit each other and have the sense of pride of having walked through the effort necessary to get there with community, with a great project, doing good for the environment, with a new paradigm. So thank you so much for being aligned with that for the new Earth.
Yeah, 100%. And when I look at this vision board, it's exciting, it's attractive. And I'm sure if you're watching now, do you want to live there? Of course. Do you want to help us co-create this? Of course. And so again, reach out, check the link in the description. Let's have a chat so you can discover more details about the project, because there is so much alignment.
We are open for business for everyone all around the world. We are really looking for change makers, heart-centered entrepreneurs, or not even an entrepreneur, anyone who is willing to play the game with us, to partake into a grander vision of creating a cleaner planet, of earning a decent income together online, and of building community. So if that's for you, all we want you to do is to be curious and ask for the information, dive into the discovery process, and decide if it's for you or not. Because if it's for you, we need you, we're looking for you, and we're ready for you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And actually, for the last part of this podcast, I want to ask you also something that I feel will make it relatable for people. Is you've trained many top leaders now in that organization, and I've seen many success stories. What's your favorite success story of a partner?
Thank you for asking. Yes, I've seen so many people get excited and then get started and then get trained and then discover their own authentic voice inside of this project. I've seen people giving up because it was too hard. They didn't want to do the work. One of my favorite success stories, I would say, is a man called Haysam Hobala, which thanks to the consistency that I've been putting, because consistency of regularly posting and talking about it is how to get the word out there. He saw my video on Instagram in the feed. And then he realized, what is this guy talking about? Cleaning the planet, plastic credit. He knew about carbon credits in the past. He was like, wow, I can't believe I'm hearing about this plastic credit thing from a random dude on Instagram. We got to know each other, and instantly it was like a great bromance, I would say. And I was very impressed by the fact that, you know, he appeared to be one of these hippies, walk barefoot everywhere, looks like a caveman. But then when you listen to him, such a depth, such a power of activation, of vision, of personal development, of embodiment. So this guy, he gets started, and I see him do what most of us should do, which is to fully choose, to just go for it with all of your confidence, to dig where you need to dig, to get the knowledge where you need to get the knowledge, and to not be afraid and just go for it. And he's been doing that for 1 year. He's been shining the light of his being through this project, and he's brought great success to himself and to his community. So for me, it's one of my favorite success stories. He's also been rewarded with the award of the Rising Star of the company, which means that he's been recognized for rising fast. So I would say it's my favorite success story. And should you join us, you will discover him also in our community as one of our top leaders.
Amazing. And yeah, I've met him in Thailand, really great guy. And you got an award there too of the global leader, global partner of the year. And of course, you're a success story, but you're probably one of the biggest. But it's nice that you also take an example of someone who started a year ago and make it relatable this way. And also what I like with what you share about him coming in his light is I feel this business is a great outlet for other aspects of ourselves. So it's a great way to coach. It's a great way to do content creation. So I'm a coach also. I can see when fears come up, you can coach your team. You can help them, be a mentor, and create content like we're doing now. So it can be a great way to build a personal brand, become a better coach, express yourself, and come into your light.
Yeah, absolutely. There's many ways that you will grow as a person beyond just this project. The first one is you're going to learn to be responsible for your income, which means you to be an entrepreneur. You're not having a salary that goes every month in your bank account, whether you did a good work or not. You're responsible for your success. That makes you grow. That makes you mature. Second, you're going to have to find your voice and face your fears and go out there in the world and find your authentic way of expressing yourself and your vision. That I would say is very helpful beyond just this project. Third, you're going to have to learn to work together with people. The people in your team, the people above you, the people in the wider community. You're going to learn to create good relationships if you don't know how to do that already. You're going to learn to network with people. You're going to learn to explain with confidence your vision. You're going to learn how to earn an income every week and face the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. You're going to learn a lot of things. And that's why most of the people that came here in this business, they always tell me after a few months, hey, it was a little bit more than I thought. Yeah, it goes a bit deeper than I thought. Exactly. Success will go deep and reach inside of your being to make you work on the things you need to work to get there. So it's an incredible platform for personal development. And then you can also get paid for that. So what about getting paid for working on yourself while cleaning the planet?
Sounds like a good plan. So again, guys, reach out, check the link in the description. Let's have a chat if it attracts you, if you want more detail, if you're curious. And I'd love to speak to you. We'd love to speak to you. And what I love is that I also got trained for free, and everyone who comes get trained for free, which, by the way, I think is a really cool system, because today, if as a coach I buy a program from a business coach, I pay them up front and they're not as incentivized whether I do well or not. Well, here, people get trained for free because the people who train, they actually make income from the success of the people who take the training, which I think is really cool. But yeah, so maybe we can talk a little bit about that training.
Yeah, please. This training is called Actors of Change. We created that with my business partner, Lumina. in middle of 2024, and we wanted to do the most efficient training in only 4 weeks. How do we get somebody who's never done networking and being an entrepreneur online from zero to I got it, I know how to do it, I practice, and I've already started. How do we do that in 4 weeks? We have refined the program so many times. We've run it now more than 10 times. More than 1,300 people have done the training in different languages. So I would say it's well oiled. I want to ask you what you thought about it. But before, I want to explain that this is meant to be the recipe on how to get started. There is a 4-step process that everybody is using. And on those 4 weeks, with 1 hour and a half per week, plus a few homework, let's say a total of 12 to 15 hours, you can change your life. And it's for free if you join our community and you're curious enough to partake in this adventure. So Actors of Change training, now it's been 1 year and a half that we are training people. You've just been through the latest version. Can you please tell people about it? How was it for you?
It was really good. I felt really held in the whole process because I joined and then I was like, okay, now how do I take action myself? I really like that you have the live training. So I also connect with the community, that you do it on 2 time zones so everyone can join. And then it's the right mix of really just what I need to get started and be effective with this business model without too much fluff. You know, you said we could do in 12 to 15 hours over 4 weeks. I felt really trained from it. I even have my own video now. I've been practicing directly with you because you're my sponsor and people can practice together. And the energy was really good too. Yeah. I find the energy is one of the most important actually, because then I'm bathing in that confidence, in that more certainty that comes across then when I talked with people. So is there anything else you want to share before we finish this episode?
Thank you so much, first of all, for inspiring people, because by lending your voice to this project, you will touch the heart of many people, and some of them will come and join us and make a difference and help us clean the planet for the future generations. So first of all, I want to thank you, because the impact and the ripple effect of your choice to get involved is going to be enormous for the coming years. And second, what I would like to share is that I hope this podcast and the information that we have discussed really brings to light the essential aspect for me is something really cool is happening, and it's only happening one time. The market of plastic recycling is only going to open up one time in our lifetime. So this is the moment. This is the moment to seize the opportunity, to join a cool community, to learn to create an extra income for yourself, and to help save the planet.
Yeah, sounds like a no-brainer to me. So definitely join us if that inspires you. And thank you so much, Thomas. Much love to everyone.